Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem will be sung by musician first class Sarah Teetsort.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense.
I love that anthem, but I couldn't sing or dance. They put me in the infantry. But Ambassador Al-Khalifa, Deputy Secretary Shanahan, Admirals Richardson, Mullen, Roughead, and Moran, General Walters, distinguished guests, so many distinguished guests, Senator Warner, shipmate, and old friend. Sir, through good times and bad, thank you for coming out today. To the in-laws, to the family, to Polly, to Averill, Pierce, Joseph, welcome. To Harrison Ford, who has so many times played roles of affecting our, what we would just call the better angels of America. Thank you too for coming. It's a good day for the Navy. It's today that the Department of Defense welcomes home one of our own. He a Marine and Naval aviator who's going to bring strength of nerve and alacrity of mind to this department. Going back through his history, comes out of New England. We won't go through the whole thing since the cooling of the earth. But I would just tell you that after departing Marine Helicopter Squadron 161 as a captain, he began his career in the private sector, demonstrating skill in a different line of work than he'd practiced in the Marines. And he showed the keen adaptability we expect in our elite military leaders. And he's proven a true man for all seasons. His accomplishments over the next 36 years in high-pressure environments makes clear that he's not one to be intimidated by challenges. In fact, he embraces them and enjoys backing up subordinates and building the teams on whom victories always rely. And that's very good because as the heirs of Midway sailors and the Marines of Iwo Jima, he will find he has no shrinking violets in this department. They demand strong, committed leaders with sound judgment. And the ships and troops going in harm's way deserve this brand of leadership, Richard, that you bring. We know that loyalty only counts when there's 100 reasons not to be loyal. And Secretary Spencer has proven steadfastly loyal to our nation's defense across many years, both in the Marines and after he left military service. He has served on the DoD Business Board and on the Chief of Naval Operations Business Advisors. He's also chairman of the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. Now he's a Westerner who we pulled out of Wyoming, and Secretary Spencer knows how to ride for the brand, the American brand. And from local organizations in Jackson Hole, the ones that pay attention to our fellow citizens who are living on the margins, to the top now of our Navy, you once again ride for the greatest of brands. President Kennedy, who was a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy during World War II, and he said, quote, any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy. So your brand, Mr. Secretary, 2 services under your secretariat. The U.S. Navy, the most lethal and most trusted Navy in the world, charged with keeping America safe and the sea lanes of commerce open. Our Navy's continual overseas presence projects America's strength and its commitment to our allies and partners by tempering our adversaries' designs and reassuring our allies that we can break through to them if trouble looms. As Cromwell once said, sometimes a man of war is the best ambassador. Your second service, one close to your heart, the U.S. Marine Corps, is the best friend of those allied with our country and the worst enemy of those who would do us harm. When baseball great Ted Williams was asked by Sports Illustrated what was the best team he ever played with, he answered without hesitation, the United States Marine Corps. Combined in the Navy Marine Corps team, your 2 services are vitally important in this challenging security environment that we face today. And I am confident that under your leadership, that team will not disappoint our nation's highest expectations. Secretary Spencer, our country needs fighting sailors and fighting Marines, courageous men and women willing to face any foe, stand by any ally, whether in rough seas or under withering fire. By your leadership, by the skill and ferocity of our sailors and Marines, we will ensure that the spirits of John Paul Jones and Chesty Puller live on in the best damn Navy and Marine Corps this world has ever seen. With your guidance and support, I know that our Department of the Navy will every day be more lethal than the day before. So Secretary Spencer, welcome back to the best team. I'm honored to serve alongside you. And to the family, Polly, thank you for loaning us your husband, your father, your brother-in-law. We need him. We need him here in this time. And now, Secretary Spencer, if you're prepared to take the oath, I will swear you in.
I am.
Okay. Why don't we step
Here and Polly.
There we go.
Hand on, right up.
You got it right. I, and state your full name,
I, Richard Vaughn Spencer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Richard V. Spencer, Secretary of the Navy.
Mr. Secretary, Mr. Ambassador, generals and admirals, workmates, the international delegation that is here, we have representatives, naval attachés from our allies, Australia, Norway, the Republic of Korea, and the UK. Friends, family, thank you for being here. I want to take a moment, though, and just say that there is all of you contributed to me standing here now, but there's some that were over and above, and I'll tell you a story that I went and spoke to many of the previous secretaries of the Navy, and I called up Senator Warner's office, and you get Senator Warner when you call Senator Warner's office, and said, may we meet? And he said, certainly, and I said, about an hour of your time would be great. He arrived at Michael Baer's house at 12 noon, I think, and at 4:30 we ended the meeting. And he walked out onto the step and he said, are there any other questions? And I said to myself, there can't possibly be any more questions. It's been 4.5 hours. And I said, no, Senator, there isn't. And he said, are you sure? And I went, and then I went, oh my gosh, I said, Senator, I would be so humbled if in fact you would introduce me on the floor of the Senate Armed Service Committee. And he said, that's the question I was looking for. But it was, and thank you. It was 3 years ago, Secretary Mattis, you and I were having dinner in the shadows of the Grand Tetons in Jackson, Wyoming. And now the only Teton I look at is at the end of the mall. It's you all of you, friends and family, that really got me here, and I mean that sincerely. Throughout the whole episode of my life, you all have contributed along the way, which brings me here to serve the country and really put a punctuation mark on a great run so far. As I assume the helm here, it is trying times. We might not be at war, but Mr. Secretary, you know damn well we're at combat, and we're fully engaged. In the Navy, we're going to focus on being warriors. That's our job. Our job is to deliver the fight tonight in the most forward deployed areas around the globe, and we are focusing on that. The shaft and the tip of the spear are all going in one direction with a laser-like focus. So you all can live the lives that you want, our allies can feel protected, and the shipping lanes of the international commerce world flow freely. We are the warriors, we're forward deployed, and we will do the job for you. At that, let's go break some cake and drink a little champagne. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Secretary Spencer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in singing the Marines hymn, followed by the Navy's official song, Anchors Aweigh.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to foreign shores, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, drink to the foam, until we meet once more, is wishing you a happy voyage home.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. You are invited to a reception to congratulate Secretary Spencer and his family. Escorts are standing by to guide you to the reception.